There have been a ridiculous number of Spider-Man games over the years, all wildly varying in quality. These range from amazing cinematic experiences that will grip you emotionally from start to finish, to this.
Help! Please! Someone! I'm going to die!
The thing is, this all had to start somewhere. I'm sure all of the grandpas out there will remember the original Spider-Man for the PS1. What? I've heard a lot of good things about this humble little game from all the pensioners online. So let me tell you, I went into this game expecting it not to be very good. I had just assumed all of the hype around this game was just going to be pure nostalgia. I mean, how good could a 25-year-old game really be? I have now come to understand just how very, very wrong I was. Guys, this game might unironically be one of the best Spider-Man games ever made.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
At the time this game came out, superhero games didn't really have a formula yet. You didn't have open worlds, you didn't have cinematic stories. Given that, it did a seriously good job, all things considered. Man, when a motherfucker wants to buy a Spider-Man game, they're doing it for the web swinging, because the web swinging tends to be some of the funnest parts of any Spider-Man game. However, since this game is linear, it doesn't have an open world, so it doesn't have the typical web swinging system you'd expect. It's extremely simple. You press R2, Spider-Man will swing 2 webs max towards a predetermined location, and then you end at that predetermined location. Despite the fact that it's nothing like the controlled web swinging we get in modern games, I actually think it's done really well. Look, it's smooth, it's satisfying, it does all that it needs to do. It was at its best during chase sequences. There was a sequence in the game that forced you to be fast paced to make sure you swing to the best places possible, and it made me realise how good the web swinging was despite its limitations. If someone says to me, I want to play a Spider-Man game for the web swinging, I'm not recommending them this game, but for what it is, it works really well. And on that basis, very few Spider-Man games are linear. They usually focus on making big open worlds with fun traversal, but playing this game made me realize how great linear Spider-Man games can really be. It forces the developers to actually create interesting levels and interesting boss battles, and that's where the game shines best. No two missions are the same, there's a lot of variety. By far, I most enjoyed this game when I was either doing a boss fight or doing some sort of set piece. It's actually crazy to me how this game, like a game this old, has better boss fights than most modern Spider-Man games. And these levels were littered with cool things like little spiders. One gives you health, one gives you more webs, one gives you the spider armor, and one gives you flame webs. I love little stuff like this because it just gives you incentive to explore. And it's cool that the costumes actually affect the gameplay, they're not just aesthetic. And one thing that really surprised me was the wall crawling. I know that's a bit of a niche topic to talk about, but I feel like a lot of Spider-Man games just do a shit job in this department, especially the Insomniac games for some reason.
What the fuck, Spider-Man? Just climb the wall. It's not that fucking hard. Get over it, bro. It's not Uncle Ben.
So I was just quite surprised to have it work smoothly, especially in such an old game. You also have this ability where you can press R1 and it zips you straight to the ceiling. It's a kind of a weird thing for me to talk about, but it was so smooth. I just really liked it. Similar to web swinging, combat is very simple. You have your light attacks, your heavy attacks, your grab attacks. These attacks were fairly limited, okay? There isn't much nuance other than button smashing. My main strategy in fights was to punch someone, jump out of the way, punch them again. However, where it gets interesting are with the web attacks. There's a lot more variety here. You have your typical webs which trap enemies, you have your impact webs which are like big punches, you have your web gloves which basically just make you do more damage when you punch people, and you can also create this like web dome thing which protects you momentarily and then you can bang explode it. And there's also web yanks, but I'm going to be for real, they were so difficult to control and you had to be so precise to initiate them that I never really got the hang of it, so you know, it just led to me getting annoyed.
Oh shit!
I have to say, one of Spider-Man's abilities which people have forgotten about over the years is his ability to make shit with his webs. This guy used to make all types of shit, from bolts to parachutes to shields. I like how this game lets Spidey make cool shit, like gloves and domes. One thing I really want to see, not just in more Spider-Man games, but in more Spider-Man media in general, is the usage of these web creations. Instead of giving him different web shooters, just give him one and let him make cool shit out of it. It's a bit funny that I have to mention this, but a lot of the games at this time had terrible save systems. I recently made a video on the Blade game, and fuck me, the saving in that game was so bad. So to my surprise, I had no issues with the saves in this game. They were just placed in really nice spots. It saved after a mission. I probably don't need to talk about it, but you know, for a game of the time, they do a good job of it. But where this game does show its ages with the camera, it's not an interactive camera, so the game can fuck you over from time to time. It's certainly better than other games. There were certain fights where I would just die because I couldn't see what was going on. Oh yeah, and as far as the character design designs go. They did a great job with any character who doesn't have a visible face. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for the face models. The faces in this game are genuinely frightening, especially Black Cat, bro. She looks like an ape. I do not know what the fuck went wrong with her. This shit is just pure nightmare fuel.
Huh?
One question, where's Rhino?
Cat! Well, if it ain't Bug Boy!
I was also pleasantly surprised by the story. When I say that, I don't mean it's the next Macbeth or anything. In fact, the plot was pretty dumb. But what I mean is that the world this game takes place in exists in such a perfect version of Marvel's New York. It feels like any character can show up at any given point. The game is packed full of villains and cameos, heroes, Marvel references are present left, right and center. It just feels ripped straight out of the comics. But the plot is relatively simple. Peter Parker and Eddie Brock are at a science expedition held by Doc Ock, who's supposedly reformed. Meanwhile, an imposter Spider-Man crashes the party and steals Doc Ock's device. The imposter Spider-Man destroys Eddie's camera. Eddie gets a bit mad because he's just trying to make a genuine living, so he crashes out and vows to use his lethal justice against Spider-Man. Why would an imposter Spider-Man who's trying to frame Spider-Man destroy evidence of Spider-Man doing a crime? Anyway, in the meantime, a massive fart cloud is unleashed upon the city. I actually like this as it gives a lore reason as to why there is no open world. Our aim is to figure out who's behind the fart cloud and who is the imposter, while simultaneously fleeing from the police and fleeing from Venom. And while we're doing that, we also have to stop and help around the city in other scenarios where we are needed. A nice touch too is that we have Stanley narrate the context behind each missions. He's got such a good way of words, and these are just cool ways of filling in people who don't really know much about Spider-Man lore. As I said previously, there's a lot of variation within the levels. The first level's a bank heist, the second's rescuing Jonah from Scorpion, the third you're stopping Rhino's rampage, and then you're hunting Venom in a sewer, and then you're eating out Black Cat, and then you're fighting Carnage. Look, each level just gets gradually more difficult. As I said before, there are a lot of cameos in this game, and all of them have some sort of substance. My favourite by far was the Daredevil one. Daredevil shows up and, listens to Spidey's heartbeat, realises he's innocent, and then lets him go. But we also get cameos from Human Torch, the Punisher, Captain America. It's such a breath of fresh air when in modern Spidey games, the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, all of New York's superheroes, they're all fast asleep while the city is literally being taken over by aliens. And also, the characterizations are so good in this game. Peter is great, but Venom? Oh my god, bro, Venom is amazing. From the get-go, this adaptation of Venom is perfect. It is such a breath of fresh air to have an adaptation of Venom that is accurate. For some reason with this character more than any, creatives love to take freedoms with the direction of the character. They always give him a different host, a different motivation, a different design, and it makes sense given the nature of the character being a symbiotic relationship between two. But I can't express how great it is just to have a classic Venom, no strings attached, especially in an era where asking for an accurate Venom adaptation seems like so much to ask for as a Spider-Man fan. Anyway, time to talk about what in my opinion is the best part of the game, the boss fights. There are so many and they are all so different and so fun. In this boss fight, you have to stop Scorpion from killing J. Jonah Jameson while simultaneously trying to defeat him. This adds multiple layers to the fight as there's more than one life bar you have to pay attention to. You also get your typical boss fights such as the make the big enemy charge into a wall fight, or fight the magical enemy in an illusion where he's bigger than you fight. While these tropes are overplayed these days, I was shocked to find that this game does them better than most modern versions. You get two boss fights with Venom. The first one's a simple 1v1, made more difficult by the fact that Venom can go invisible. A lot of people forget this, but not only is Venom invisible to Peter's Spidey sense, he also has the ability to go camouflage. And the second boss fight with Venom was really good. You have to stop MJ from drowning whilst trying to defeat Venom. The penultimate boss fight is against Doc Ock. This was unfortunately my least favourite boss fight, as it was the easiest one by far and it was more time consuming than anything else. But right after we get that fight, we get a boss fight with Carnage, which is easily the hardest in the game. This shit took me like 30 minutes to defeat him. But the boss fights are absolutely the best part of this game, and they are actively challenging, which is something you can't really say about boss fights in a lot of modern superhero games. The worst part about this game is definitely how short it is, but this is quickly remedied by the replayability of it all. The campaign is littered with comic covers. If you collect them, you can read small explanations of the events in these comics. But even better than that, there are a multitude of extra suits you can unlock, and they all have different abilities. For example, when you beat the game, you unlock the symbiote, which gives you unlimited webbing. And if you beat it on hard mode, you unlock Captain Universe, who has double damage, invincibility, and unlimited webbing. And so on and so on. There's so many other suits. To conclude, I would certainly recommend this game to anyone who likes Spider-Man and anyone who likes video games. It's not a long game. You could finish it in the afternoon if you really wanted, but it is an excellent and it is an interesting experience. It's such a surprise that they got it right the first time, but later managed to fuck it up a lot more. I'm gonna give this game an 8 out of 10.